Extending our study of the pivot tables, we now apply it to numeric data as contrasted to categorical data used in previous lessons. The use of numeric data allows us to do a lot more arithmetic manipulations in our pivot table. We demonstrate it using sales data from a store in Canada. We will now be applying pivot tables to numeric data as contrasted to categorical data to which we had applied these tables to in earlier lessons when we used the data from the Summer Olympics medal tally. Numeric data as contrasted to categorical data is a data on which you can do various arithmetic calculations, such as you could add them, divide them, multiply them, can calculate the averages, and so on. The example that we'll use is from the file store sales, which we have been using across various lessons. So let's open this file. You go to File and open the file store sales. So once again, this file contains sales data from a store in Canada that sells online office supplies. We wish to summarize sales data based on the province to which it is shipped. To do so, we'll introduce a pivot table. So we go to Insert, Insert a pivot table, select my entire data, which in this case has already been selected, cells A1 through M8400. I'll put the pivot table report in a new worksheet and then I click OK. So a new worksheet is created and the pivot table is put inside that. I could rename this sheet. Pivot table. So I have my pivot table here. Now since I wish to put sales as per the provinces, I would select my province and drop it where it says row labels. So my vertical axis consists of all the provinces in Canada to which the store ships its products. Since I wish to organize my sales data as per the province to which it is shipped, I will select the province as my row label. So I'll drag province and place it under row labels, and as values I'll select my sales. Select my sales and drag it and place it in values. So now my pivot table consists of the various provinces to which the store ships its products and the sum of sales across these provinces in my data set. My data consists of 4 years of sale from January 2009 till December 2012. So this is the aggregate of sales across these provinces. The province that sells the most is British Columbia, where the aggregate sales across the 4 years close to $1.89 million. Now, if instead of summing the sales, I wish to calculate the average sales in these provinces. So what I do is, I click anywhere in this column, sum of sales, do a right click, go to value field settings, and now instead of sum, I could select any of these options. I could count the number of observations across these provinces, calculate the average, calculate the maximum sales, minimum sales. So if I wish to calculate average, I select average, do an OK. Now in the pivot table, instead of having the sum of sales, I get the average sales. I could do similarly a minimum sales, do a right click, go to value field settings, minimum sales, and now I get the minimum amount of sales that has occurred across these 4 years across the 4 provinces. By minimum, I mean any particular order, the minimum specific order that has been received across these provinces. Next, if I wish to see the sales across provinces and across various years. So to do that, let me first revert back to sales being shown as the actual sum of sales. So I do right click, value field settings, sum. So this is the sum total of sales. Next, I'll insert the order date as my column label. So I drag order date, place it in column labels. And now what has happened is the sales in the pivot table are displayed across provinces, and as row labels I have those individual days. But I do not wish to have individual days. I want sales to be displayed as per year. Let me first hide the pivot table field list. I do that by going to the pivot table, anywhere in the pivot table, do a right click, hide field list. So what it will do is it will hide the pivot table list on the right hand side. I can also increase the viewing size of the spreadsheet by increasing it to, let's say, 120%. And now what I do is to view the sales across years, I click anywhere on this column label, do a right click, go to group, click on group, and since I want to group this in years, I select years. So right now both years and months are selected, so it would group it in years as well as in months within those years. I don't want that, I just want years. So I click on months and deselect months and then do an OK. So now my sales across the various provinces have been grouped across the 4 years: 2009, 2010, 2011 and 2012. Now if I wish to see the sales across the provinces, across the years, and also across product categories. So this store sells across 3 different product categories. So to do that, I will introduce the product category as an additional row label. So let me first begin by unhiding my pivot table field list. I do a right click anywhere on the pivot table, show field list. So my field list is shown on the right hand side. Now I'll select my product category and drag it and place it under row labels. So I have 2 row labels now. In addition to province, I have a product category also. So in the pivot table now, for every province, I have the 3 product categories. And then the sales are shown across product categories for various years in that particular province. And also the sum totals, the subtotals are also shown for various product categories, various years, various provinces. If I wish to look at sales for specific years, I could do that by going to column labels, clicking the drop down menu and selecting the years I want to see sales for. Let's say if I wish to see sales for the year 2010 and 2011. So first I deselect everything and then select 2010, 2011 and then do an OK. So now my sales in my pivot table are shown for these 2 specific years across provinces, across various product categories.